Going to attempt to do a little bit of painting this morning. And we'll see where we left off last time. I don't remember. It's been almost a week. Last Sunday since I painted. So, been a week and this thing is still wet. So, let's pick up where we left off. Was on this night right here that we're working on. Okay, let's see, we got the base color. I'm trying to figure out what we're going to do on his shield. I'm probably going to do those horizontal stripes. Let's do a little bit of flesh that's on him. I'm sure none of those colors are alive. We didn't use them last week. They've definitely been sitting around for a while. Almost time to change this thing here. Almost time to change the diaper, the painting diaper. Yeah. Just a tiny little area that we have to paint is just his little mouth. This guy's very RoboCop looking. Mm-hmm. See how far up we went on this guy. Yeah, a little bit more. And we're going to go ahead and paint the metal parts of his helmet. Should have some of that still alive. I think I saw it down here. Yep. Actually separated too much. It's acting weird, maybe because it's a metallic. And it's been sitting there a week just percolating. I don't know how far I'm going to be able to get this morning, but I figured I'd give it a shot. I got maybe just a little under an hour. Okay. It's got mostly a dark green color. We're going to do this guy in like a dark blue. Yeah, a bit brighter than that. this one should work. This one should work. See if I can find us a dry spot here to combine some colors. Oh, it's time to get the old pin vise out again. Is it going to be the base color there for his most of his garments? Good morning, Hans. I think you're one of the guys that enjoyed the Napoleonic game that happened the other evening. Kind of caught me off guard. I I didn't know we were going to do that until that same day. So that's how kind of piss poor planning our group does. I did not know that this guy was in town. So Joel is really big on Napoleonics, and he has all those troops himself, and that's what he's painting. I don't think he likes DBA very much, but he does like DBN, so. Yeah, it was nice for something different. As long as I don't have to be the one that knows the rules or takes point on them, that's fine. Played many different types of games with it. American Civil War, FOW. I don't know what FOW is. Maybe it's misspelled and you meant to say French and Indian War? Or the European. You're European, so I would imagine you would probably call it the 7 Years' War, which is what I would call it as well. So, um, I don't know. There's probably the thing I disliked about it the most is that it was in inches, and the cavalry just doesn't move hardly any distance at all. Just like the old 2.2 days, it doesn't move visibly very far. So, well, it was all right. It's not like I'm going to rush to go paint Napoleonics, but yeah, he's between Mitch and him. Mitch for Napoleon's battles, and Joel for DBN. I don't need to paint any troops. They have plenty. I don't need to take on any more projects. That's for sure. This is hard enough to get through as it is with the limited amount of time I've had lately to paint. So I haven't painted since last Sunday where you guys left off on the last video. So very, 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 very busy. Franco-Prussian War. Okay. I read a little bit about that this week. I read a little bit. Not didn't read about it, but watched a couple of YouTube videos on it. Since I had very cursory knowledge of it, I started a new book on Audible, and I don't remember what it's called, but it's by an author named, I believe he's German, named, oh, I'm going to say it wrong because I don't remember exactly what his name is. You know what? Give me a second. I'll pull it up on the computer. I'm gonna send people on all kinds of wrong tangents if I spell it wrong, if I say it wrong, or if I tell you the wrong book here. Let's see if I can get this. Okay. Yes, we don't need to have that notification. Thank you. It's called The Collision of Empires, The War on the Eastern Front in 1914 by Prit Butar. Basically focuses on the Germans, Austro-Hungarians, and Russians on the Eastern Front of World War One. Just wanted something different. I think there's a series of 4 or 5 books on the Eastern Front in World War One. So hopefully we can go through them all in sequence. No, I'm not getting ready to game World War One, but it's semi-fascinating to me, and it's an area that I don't want to read about trench warfare. So we'll go to the other front. But he's got a series of. It was either that or start doing some World War II stuff, reading wise, or as I like to say, having read to me, because I don't paint or anything while I have that in the background. That's just driving to and from work. So any yard work I have to do, that's when I use that as well. But this time of the year, there's no yard work to do. So yeah, so far so good. A little dry in a few places, but hopefully that'll straighten itself out. But it's just I like those books because it gives me kind of an understanding for you're learning stuff just while you're driving, and then you'll hear something that you want to look up more and maybe learn about something else. But yeah, that's what's on the reading list lately. I got to use up these credits, so on Audible. So yeah, I went back and looked a little bit of the Franco-Prussian War stuff. American Civil War, never got into it. Never got into it. When I first started miniature wargaming, the group here in town was big on playing American Civil War, and just a period of history I don't find interesting at all. And just never got into it. Back in the 1980s, people were buying, what were they buying the figures of? Minifigs and Stone Mountain miniatures. and 15 millimeter scale. It's historical gaming, so if it's a period of history that I'm not interested in, I don't really want to game it. So ACW, early war. It's quite interesting. Later war, a bit of a pain and drag. Yeah, I'm already American. I don't want to play. I don't really care to play Americans. Think of it a little bit as a role play. I have thought about doing World War One in 20 millimeter scale as a skirmish, and no, not trench warfare, other stuff. But there's only so much time. I'd do early war French and Germans. French when they had the colorful pants. Nobody has any helmets on, but maybe a little bit more. Oh, this guy. Yeah, this is better. Just seems like you're playing a game that has a lot of shooting in units, like it's Napoleonics, American Civil War, Franco-Prussian War, 7 Years' War, anything like that. Seems like I've already kind of gone through in my head how it would go, and I've kind of talked myself out of playing it. Just seems like you'd just be lining up your units against the other guy, trying to find an advantage, demoralize an area, or put enough hits or cohesion, destroy enough cohesion in the enemy in a certain area, and then exploit it and try to turn the flank. That's like how every battle would turn into. And I guess that's probably the same way in like medieval battles as well, except there's a lot of different troop types that are very different from each other. Bows are very different from dismounted knights, are very different from mounted cavalry. But it just seems like you get cannon, which may or may not be very effective depending on the rule set you're using, infantry and mounted. That's it. It just seems a little bland. And a lot of those periods, maybe not Franco-Prussian War, but a lot of those periods, both sides are using the same uniform, just in different color facings and that kind of stuff. So from my standpoint, from what I like to game and paint, none of the area just really jumps out at me. No, it's okay. Maybe some of you guys may like it or what have you, but that's the reason I haven't really gotten into it. Is it just seems like it was once you get past like say 15 1590, things just start being more homogenized, so to speak. I don't know. That's the way I look at it. That's, I guess, why I haven't really gotten interested in it. Civil War period. Just not interested in any of the uniforms either. But you know, uh, what have you? If you're interested in that, that's cool. And They're that's why they make all kinds of different gaming. Ultimately, you got to play whatever your people that in your group are. If you're the only guy that likes ancients and medieval and nobody wants to play it, they're interested in playing Napoleonics. Well, you kind of have to play Napoleonics, or you're not going to do any gaming, or you need to be really good at converting people over, because you do need other people to do your thing. So, all right, let's do a pure white cough on this guy. Yeah, so like if my painting group was really big into Flames of War, I'd be in real trouble because it's I like World War II, but I don't I don't care for that particular rule set or the scale of the game. I've played a lot of that in the past, and it doesn't scratch my World War II itch. So it's a compromise. So do you find in U.S. there's war grooming terms, rules, and periods that seem to be in flavor of the month? Um, well, I haven't done a poll or anything. It seems like a lot of war gamers don't stick with one rule set. They jump around. They're always looking for the perfect rule set. And a lot of war gamers just are involved in too many different things. I would rather do one period really well than jump around and not know the rules and stuff to different things. But that's after many years of gaming. I think that people are always excited about new things that come out, like all the new things that Warlord Games puts out, and then they make it easy with like sets and stuff like that. And then they go and well, yeah, they go and they buy all that stuff, and then they never do anything with it, or play it a little bit but never paint it, or I don't know. I think a lot of people bite off more than they can chew. It happened with that whole Field of Glory. Remember, Field of Glory came out, I don't know, I'm going to say 10 years ago. It may not have been 10 years ago. And they made all the books, so the books were, people were buying them up. Everybody's playing Field of Glory. And then, it lasted like 2 years maybe. And then it just disappeared. I mean, it never really appealed to me. It's too many troops on the battlefield. But of course, I'm playing Field of Glory online, but that's a little different. I'm not spending a whole lot of time with that. Just playing in one tournament and one fellow that I've been playing off and on. So I don't want to spend too much time doing that because that doesn't scratch my painting itch. But but as a factual miniatures game, yeah, people come and go. I mean, it just I've seen this before. I've seen people that just I like to call throw money at the problem, and it drives me crazy. It's not that I'm being frugal; it's that in my days of wargaming, I've bought things I've never used, and it doesn't feel good. It's wasteful when you don't do anything with it, and we've all been there. And some of us hopefully learn by our mistakes. But you know, um, I'll give you an example. I The last thing that happened to me with was when I sold a lot of my old wargaming things. I think some of the money that I used from my old 1/2400 scale ships, I ended up buying when it had just come out all of the Wings of War stuff. The little collectible miniatures game with the World War One planes. I bought all the sets. I bought the original one. I bought two of the mats. I think there was 4 or 5 expansions. I got them all. I got a dozen or so of the planes, and just never did anything with it. Now, at the time, we were playing an online game with some other people, so we were kind of big into that. But I've got it in the closet, and I've bought it all. I don't know, spent $300. Maybe it's more than that. No, ultimately, it was just I just traded game thing I didn't use and bought other something else that I didn't use. But yeah, a lot of people do stuff like that. So I'm going to try to uh, not do that anymore. I've in the last 10 years, 10 years, probably in the last 10 years, I've become more and more disinterested in learning how to play new games. That doesn't mean I won't play them. It just means I don't want to read the rules and I don't want to uh, try to figure out what the rules say and am I doing it right? And it may have to do with age and it may have to do with I've done that with DBA so much that I refuse to do it with another rule set. Um, it's just not something I enjoy. Um, so, and argue about rule, and f that. I don't have time for that. That's negative for me. It's not something I enjoy. So, and it's picking up speed, I should say. That Napoleonic game I played the other day, I didn't even look at the. I didn't even look at the. Of course, I played it before many years ago, but I didn't even look at the chart. I was going to ask, okay, what's this guy do? This the numbers on this, and then just make decisions on that. But actually looking through a chart and figuring out, I just don't have it in me anymore. Work's too demanding, and that's just not something I enjoy in gaming. Other people love reading rules, and that I got better things to do. I'd rather paint figures and never use them. That seems more valuable. This is therapeutic, but yeah, I've got zero interest in learning how to play other stuff. Being the referee, so to speak, in other rules in other games. I'm burned out on that. So I don't know. That's my trend. But I think a lot of people, just in general, they bite off more than they can chew. People get involved in way too many different things. I prefer to specialize. Yeah. Well, the reason I haven't moved to other things is just there's so much variety just in DBA period stuff between Egyptians to Burgundians. There's so much variety in that time period of things. It's like never ending. I subscribe to a couple of video game forums. I don't mean first person shooters, like strategic type of board game type things. And frequently they'll ask you, what kind of stuff you enjoy playing or what's the favorite this, and there's a big split between, well, there's people that like tactical games, people that like that. This is just on simulations or war games like that. No, we're not even talking about first person shooters, but there's tactical people and there's strategic people. There's a lot of people that like strategy games. I don't. I don't like the big strategy like Rise and Decline of the Third Reich. Remember that old Avalon Hill game? That's not the game for me. I don't enjoy that kind of stuff. It's a little too. Let's say you're doing playing a World War II type game. I don't want to play the role of a Hitler. I want to play. I want to play like a company commander. If that makes any sense. but I'm not interested in making big, long-reaching decisions. I prefer making tactical, more focused decisions based on on the period in play. But then, I don't really enjoy things like chess. So maybe those things are more suited to somebody who likes that kind of stuff. Yes, it was something my group was discussing, how people are constantly buying new stuff. Yeah, keeping up with the Joneses. I hate it. I hate it. But people like that keep the industry alive, but not me. I find it very unsatisfying. Um, you need to enjoy what you have, not keep buying and buying and buying and buying. Marcin, how are you? Good morning. Yeah, but I think I'm the exception. Most people are in the. I know one person in particular that they started off playing a rule set that I play, and then they got out of it, sold all their stuff, bought into a similar rule set in a larger scale, got out of that, moved into something else. Not, it's just constantly moving and into different things. Now, this person doesn't paint, so they're buying pre-painted things for something else. Maybe it's different if you're buying pre-painted things. Like as many hours I spend doing this, there's no way I can afford to never play a DBA type game again. Maybe 20 years down the road, I'm not interested in playing DBA 3.0 anymore. Maybe I'm playing something different that came out, or maybe something I even created. But it's still going to be the same scale of game, of troop stuff like this. I've just whoop hello, I've I've just spent too much time working on this stuff to not use it in the future. So I don't see that happening, at least in my case. I just have too much investment in too many hours of playing this that I just don't see saying, well, I'm not going to play this type of a medieval ancients game anymore, and we're going to go back to doing World War II. Like, no, not in my case. So, a sign of things to come. So yeah, if you paint your own stuff, you don't want to throw that all away. I don't want to. Somebody else, speaking of Warlord, they've got all those plastic figures in 28 millimeter, and I know people that build these huge armies just to play this game that a few years from now they're not going to be playing or use the armies. Like that's a massive investment of time that I just can't see throwing that away. I just can't see throwing that away. No personal attachment when you do not paint miniatures. That's the problem. Okay. Yeah. Well, like I mentioned earlier, I think painters in the U.S. are few and far between. I don't know what it is. We just spoil and we have other distractions to spend our time on now. Lately, I'm painting only 2 days a week and not even full, but that's just because work's too damn busy. So it's actually busier than it's ever been. So wish there'd be some economic slowdown here, so I could. I got almost 10 days. I'm not going to be able to use this year. I can't carry them over, but it's just one of those things. I can't leave work. It's too busy. I can't. It's too busy. I can't do the work in advance to be able to take off, and nor do I have the energy to come back and clean it up. I'd rather just not use the days than, what's the point in taking off Monday through Friday, and then you have to come in on the weekends to clean everything up? It's like, I'd rather just not even leave. Screw it. So, no big. You won't last forever. But not painting as much as I could. That's why, about a month ago, I did a 9 hour painting session. I'm going to try to paint as much as I can when I can, because you never know when it's not going to be able to get into that and not paint any. So these Hungarians are going to take a while. They'll get done in 2021, though. It may be December 2021, but they'll get done. If not, I won't get anything else done between them, because we're going to power through all these guys. Well, I got to go wake up the daughter, and then I'll be right back in about 5 minutes. So just bear with me. I will return. All right. We got another 20 minutes here. So, been working on two 28 millimeter 7 years war metal armies for 12 years. Oh, wow. It's total madness, but my period of obsession. I too am a wargaming anomaly like you. Wow. I don't know about 12 years. That's a bit extreme. But hey, if that's what you like to paint. Friedrich the Grosse. 7 years war. I thought about that. I told Mitch, I said, hey, wouldn't that be fun to do 7 years war? And then he kind of explained to me how the combat would go. And I started thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, I don't know I'd want to do that. Maybe painting wouldn't be so bad, but the gaming, eh. It's a stupid period to do in 28 millimeter. Well, it's what you like. I wouldn't do anything in 28 millimeter. It just takes too long for me to paint. I mean, I can't, I'm not going to spend 8 hours on a figure. I don't have time for it. But I don't know if it's stupid. I mean, I'm sure you could assemble line painting a lot of this stuff. So You get your gaming happiness from DBA. Oh, there you go. If if I had discovered, if I had the, let's see, let's phrase this correctly so I can get my point across. If I could go back, if we had access to YouTube and stuff like that in the 90s, in the early 90s, then I'd probably be doing more World War II stuff. Because if I had access to this that I'm doing right now in the early 90s, when I had three, when I lived alone and stuff, yeah, we could be doing World War II games, solo stuff, and like that. But the days of those long games going on forever, it's just not practical anymore. I've thought about it. I've thought about filming, doing some solo gaming in the back room, but it's so demanding on terrain and everything because I don't want to just throw a felt down and be done with it. We want to have the full, we want to have the full terrain with the buildings, and other people have it. Why the hell can't I, right? It just takes a crap ton of time to do. But yeah, I guess those people that just sit around and just paint the stuff and they don't have any attachment to it. They can just pick up and, well, I've mentioned this before. Those people that buy painted armies, they can buy an army for, I'll just throw an easy number to remember, $100. They buy something for $100, use it, and then sell it again for $100. Those of us that spend our entire lifetimes painting something, we can never sell it because we never will get the money out of it. So, but then, I don't see what the point is in buying something painted for me as a painter. I do have one thing was painted by someone else, and it's one little item. A little matchbox car somebody made as a French taxi, and I figured I'd use that for my partisans, and for like 20 millimeter scale. But I've never used it. I bought it almost 20 years ago, and it was a mixture of I liked how it was painted, and it was a model that is difficult to obtain. So it was like I don't know when I bought it. So I forget I had that, but that's the only thing I have that's been painted by somebody else. Yeah, I've got some French partisans in 20 millimeter that I'm going to say one of these days I'm going to get to, but I'm not. I'm never going to get to them. That's okay. That's all right. Gaming that period is just a problem then because I've got to mine the figures, worry about if people damage them, and I've kind of gotten out of the habit of people using my figures. All right, so we got to do a shield for this clown. It's stupid in that my units are 30 plus figures. I can't get them all on the table anymore. Studio WGS coming in a little late today. Um, yeah, it's late in the evening. How's the other part of the world going there? The opposite end. Malaysia, right? I think that's right. Isn't this great, this world we live in? Well, that part about it, anyways. You know, you have some kind of niche hobby and you have access to people all over the world because, you need it. Yeah. Too bad this stuff wasn't around a long time ago. Oh well. It's all good. It's always going to be the case, isn't it? All right. Let's get one of my shields from my spearman. As soon as I find him, I was facing the other way, and I don't have my glasses on, so I'm freaking blind. All right. Let's take the entire thing. Let me take the entire shield, and we paint it really dark. That's going to be what we're going to start with. Yeah, the World War II gaming I like to do. I love World War II gaming, but I like the game at a scale of very, very tactical, where you're only moving around. Each player's only got less than 5 figures. So it's very much a movie, very tactical. You know, when a guy dies, it's a big deal. But it just takes a long time for things to get resolved because there's a lot of individual people to move. But yeah, that would be fun to film. Um, but yeah, I don't have the time for that also. So I think we'll do that type of thing when I get kicked out of the house and I got to live in a dumpster. Then I'll have plenty of time to do those type of things. Okay, so I think the secret is you put a red one in the middle and then two on each side. Okay, we can do that for pacing yourself. All right, let's do some stripes. Get some stripe action going on here. 7 p.m. Malaysia, exactly. I actually took a look at my unpainted Old Glory naps because of your DBN video. Okay. You have any of Dave Alsop's castings, my hero? He did a lot of the Napoleonics there. Hasn't a World War II rule set, quite cartoony one with cards and things. Yeah, I forget which one it's. There's lots of World War II stuff. There's lots of World War II things. We were coming up with our own rule set, and then we found one that was really close to what we were doing, and we just went with that. And I've been really happy with it. But I hadn't played it in 15 years or so, and it's more than 15 years, and it's out of print now. So, but all right, let's put a. We got to be careful doing this. We got to put a center stripe. You know what? I'm going to destroy something I've done because this is going to annoy the shit out of me. And it's okay. It's all right. We've got this line right through the middle of the shield, and that's going to be really annoying. To paint that. I don't know why I hadn't noticed it before. I don't like cleaning the flash off figures. I figure it's not my job to do that. I'm going to go ahead and just take it all off the shield. We'll come back and fix that. It's not a big deal. That way we're not looking at that mold line there. I can count on one finger how many times I've had to do this before. Yeah, there's a ton of rule sets. And I've watched videos on all of them, and none of them scratch my itch. I'm very particular about that period. The stuff I want to game in that period and what I don't. scale, especially scale. I'm just not interested in anything that's not a 20 millimeter scale. I'm just flat out not gonna collect it. I was gonna say play, but not gonna play 28 millimeter. Not gonna play 15s. When I was doing World War II, there was no 15 millimeter World War II. Hadn't come out yet. That's a little bit of a setback. No big deal. It'll look better when I'm done. All right, we get all the little there's issues with that. Yeah, I like the 20 millimeter scale figures. So remember, I'm mostly a painter and a gamer, so if I don't enjoy the figures that I'm painting, then all bets are off. All right, let's start over. We don't need to use the we don't need to use the primer stuff. This will work just fine. Let's get some more of this on here. Yeah, lots of World War II stuff out there. And all kinds of different scales. There's somebody even has them in 1/48 scale and has like almost like individual character cards and stuff for people. Forget which one it is. I want to say it's an Italian manufacturer, but I think that one you're only playing a hand, like one guy or a handful of guys, almost like a role-playing game. I play a game of Chain of Command, watch a couple of videos of it. It's not tactical enough. It needs to go down one level. It needs to go down one level. Okay, now we don't have a stupid mold line across the whole thing. Yeah, you'd be fighting that mold line every time I come across with one of these lines on the shield. That's annoying. Let's see what else we got here. You like the rule set called Operation Squad. Only uses 10 figs aside. Well, I like that scale. It probably wouldn't be detailed enough for me. I've played two sets of rules, which kind of scratch my itch. One of them was the Face of Battle. That one has a lot of detail and the scale's about right. And then the other one, which is even smaller scale, is Firefight Normandy, or it's called Firefight Normandy or Normandy Firefight. It's one of the other two. The problem with Normandy Firefight is there's 0 vehicles. I don't mind having a vehicle or two. I don't want to play 10 vehicles on a side, but a couple of vehicles is okay. Normandy Firefight has no vehicles, which you can come up with your own set of rules for the vehicles, but again, I don't really have time for that kind of stuff. But it feels like it's not a complete rule set, almost like they made it only for Normandy period, and they didn't have, it was just infantry on infantry kind of stuff. So I think Face of Battle's a little better, but it's out of print, and it may be available as a PDF or something like that. But you got to be a real diehard for that. It's a Canadian rule set. The guys are from Canada, so I just hadn't played it in a long time, and it's not good for conventions. Yeah, it'd be good for like if we got together once a week, and it would, we could end up playing a battle over a month, and just leave things set up. We could probably do that. I just don't have it in me anymore. I think we're having a lot more. I don't know that we'd be having more fun than we would be doing DBA. So there's not a big incentive of me switching to doing that. So how about navel? Do I do navel? That's all we used to do. That's all I used to do in the 80s and early 90s. And I sold them all. Of course, they didn't look that good compared to the stuff I'm painting now. So that's the main reason. I have a few of them. See if I can find one quick. I kept a handful of them. Yep, I found the right one. How does that saying go? And now for something completely different. Oh, look, and I found that taxi I was talking about. Look at that. All right, well, we're done paintings. I gotta go wake up the daughter in about 5 minutes anyway. So here we go. Today's show and tell is brought to you by Malaysia. Let's see what we got here. Here's a little taxi I didn't paint. Let me close this. Let's put this stuff over here. Let's see if I can. I did not paint this. Not that I couldn't have painted this, I just didn't. See, it's just a Matchbox model, and I bought it painted, and it's 20 millimeter scales. I figured, oh, this is a little thing that the partisans can get out of there, kind of like a Chinese fire drill. You get 4 or 5 guys that just pull out of there. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, certainly 4, and it's dusty too, even though it's been in a box. Yeah, cute little thing. All right. What else we got in here? Oh, here's a panther I did. Not that I've ever used it. You throw one of these on the field, and when you're running around with squads and you're up a creek. I did this probably 25 years ago. Yeah, it looks like crap by today's standards. It probably just could give it a wash and so forth. But this is I'm not sure whose kit this is. Well, there it is. It says right on it. Hasegawa. It's a Hasegawa. Yeah. What else we got? This is I don't know if this is a Fujimi or not. This one's not complete. No, 251-1. Yeah, see, I still, I didn't paint the little, the tools and stuff yet. This has been sitting in this stage for, I don't know, 20 years, maybe over 20 years. What else we got here? I'm not sure who this kid is. This is, oh, you know who this is? This is Millicast, I believe. This is a Millicast kit with, this is a Martyr with the Russian 76 rechambered and little crew from, I believe these are Drew's Malicious figures. I could be wrong. Did look all right. The problem is back then I was doing semi-gloss for the finish, not flat. So what else we got? That's the good vehicles you want to use in tactical combat because they have weaknesses. So here is my Sherman Firefly. Again, it's got a semi-gloss coat. This is all done with the painting method that I use now with the multiple shades and stuff. There's no washes on here. So this took forever and a day to paint. I guess I've just never used it. Never used it yet. So my attempt to paint the decals on there. This is a Britannia model, I believe. All right, enough of that stuff. Naval. Oh, you know how I'm always saying that I don't paint Games Workshop stuff? I did. This is probably in the 80s that I painted. A wolf. I don't know why I kept this thing. Yeah, this is back when they used to have the. What is this? Games Workshop 1985. Oh, it even says what it is. Wolf. This is back when we used to do, hey, really good looking stands here with a basing. Not. I didn't even know it was in there. All right. Navel, right? Okay. I only kept a couple things. This is a GHQ World War One British light cruiser. Let's see if we can get this a little closer here. This is all painted layering scheme. No washes. I think it turned out pretty well. Still over 20 years ago when I did this. Added this fake flag and had to put a little ensign on there. There's one in World War II. This is just a measure 21, but still, it's got layering technique. The deck color is not the same as the side colors. So let's see what else we got. Italian destroyer, GHQ. And then if I was going to do naval, again, I'd do 1/6000. The problem with 1/6000 is I don't like the water that a lot of them are cast in. So, but anyhow, I like how they look. And I've got modern stuff in 1/6000 scale. So if I went and did it again, I'd probably do 1/6000 scale. But anyhow, that's what's left of my naval. I had probably 600 ships, 600 ships. Yes, a lot of them weren't painted or started and not finished. So yeah. I did used to do other things that weren't 15 millimeter. I didn't do any 15 millimeter until 2004. So didn't know that wolf was in there. All right, I got to go wake up the daughter. I got to get her ass out of bed. So she's got to do swimming this morning, and she wanted to sleep in some more. So anyhow, that was a little bit of a smorgasbord there for different stuff. So yeah, all we used to game was World War II naval, and we've done plenty of that. And there's just not enough tactics in it. There's no fields to take over and so forth. So I enjoy this a lot more. I do have a love for the ships, so I'm a ship guy and a rivet counter. So used to play using Seekrig 4 back in the day, in range estimate, play on the ground and all that stuff. But those days are over. It's just not worth it anymore. But anyhow, it was a little painting session for this morning, and we'll probably get another one in tomorrow morning. Quite a bit longer, hopefully. But anyhow, you guys have a happy Saturday, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow. See ya.